Let's do this tier list. Don't know where I want to start. Should I just start with Achilles? Tweet deck must not let you send 2p. Yeah, blame who uses tweet deck, lol. All right, let's do this tier list. Normal shit. SS tier is your broken gods. There's actually going to be a couple of them. Like, you're truly just fucking way too strong gods. We got some shit going on right now, so there's definitely going to be a couple of those. S plus is going to be your top picks and top bans. Must ban, must pick every game, first and second. S tier are going to be your gods that'll probably make it through picks and bans, and then are going to be prioritized because everything else is banned. A plus is just your most of your gods that are just higher tier, can be played with most comps and are pretty good. A tier are gonna be gods that can play with most comps. B plus I use as a niche type thing. Like I don't know, it's not gonna be like this now, but like Scream playing Bastet jungle and being the only one to do it, make it work. That kind of shit. And that's not gonna apply to your casual players the way you guys think it does. Every time I say this, you're like, yeah, but I play Anubis and win every game. It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about gods that can work at the highest level if it's played very specific ways. That's very not casual, not normal, not consistent by your average player. B tier are gonna be shit gods. C tier are gonna be shittier gods, and D tier is gonna be Loki. All right, so let's jump into this. You got Achilles. Achilles really performed well at Worlds. He won Worlds. I wouldn't say the god itself did everything, and I wouldn't say the player did everything. I think he's just usually going to be a great later game team fight god because you have an execute on somebody who's already frontlining. It's awesome. Agni, A tier, a little bit worse than the clear in terms of mid laning. Once you get past the clear issues, you're level 3, 4, 5. Once you get to 5, you're good to go. A really strong god in most situations, pretty much every situation. AMC got nerfed in the ground. I don't know why the fuck you would play AMC. Apwash got the buff of double anti-healing, 100% anti-healing. Can be played with a lot of the comps right now. Might not be super safe, but you can still get away with it, especially in casuals and ranked. Amaterasu is getting played a decent amount in the solo towards the end of the season. Going into next split, you almost always see Ama come out at the beginning of the year, fall off for a little while, and then come back at some point. So I'm just going to drop her into A plus for right now. She's still going to lose lane. Still going to be a good teamfight god. On her is going to be average A tier shit. Good in the mid lane because of clear and pressure. Outside of that, just a really average, decent hunter. Anubis. Who the fuck? Oh, a Cyclone who played Anubis, and we put it up higher. And apparently Anubis has a really high win rate, or had a really high win rate. I'm going to drop Anubis into A so everyone doesn't cry in the comments. But realistically, I would want to put it Anubis like B tier. You have early pressure, but if anyone builds anti-heal against you, especially with all the gods that are good, that'll punish you for not moving. So like, I don't know, Kukulkan, just right off the top of my head. Kukulkan is one of the best mid laners in the game. You play Anubis into a Kukulkan, you die every time you ult on Anubis. You ult and you cancel it. I'd rather be a Kukulkan with no ult than an Anubis with no ult. So a little bit on the riskier side. I'm just going to leave him in B. Fuck it. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is this? My shit bugged. Look at this. What is happening? It bugged. No. MJ, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Website guy, where are you? How did this happen? Did I do something? I actually might have done something. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. We're good. I'm just trolling. It's just visually bugged. All right, Ao Kuang sucks dick, B tier. Aphrodite sucks dick, B tier. If you need to explain why, you're smoking some crack. Neither of them have clear, not in the jungle, not in the lane. Late game anti-heal will fully counter Aphrodite, and unless you're able to consistently reset on Aphrodite, you're worthless. On Ao Kuang, you just don't do anything until 100 minutes into the game, and at that point, everyone else does the shit as well. Apollo, average, not played as often. His new skin is dope, so you might see it actually played more in your casuals and ranked games. Outside of that, very, very fucking average. Arachne after the nerfs a long time ago is just doo-doo tier. I wish she was better. Straight up, you might pub stomp. I'll put her in B because she might pub stomp your casuals, but she's not good. Ares, average. Artemis, low tier, no clear, no pressure, not safe. Ardeo, high pressure, decent god, average. Athena support, really, really strong because of global ult. Normal shit, different day. whether you're invading or if you're invading, obviously not going to be crazy strong. But if you're starting in the lane, you're doing things normal, just get to level 5. Make sure you use your ult properly. You'll be fine. Awilix is going to be a counter pick. God, I don't want to put her in A. I'll put her in B+. And in terms of this, it's just the right situation, the right time you can play Awilix. Outside of that, you shouldn't be playing her. Bacchus, kind of the same. If you're just going full dive in the support role, only time I play him. Bacchusura is pretty shitty in every role. You're trying to AFK farm with 0 pressure. I don't know how the fuck you ever do that unless you're just way better than the people you're playing against. Baron, super situational as a solo laner, maybe a mid laner. Not going to be played all that much in your casuals and ranked. You might have fun into like King Arthur with him, but outside of that, wouldn't play it too much. Bastet, A tier. You saw her get a lot of wins and start to do better towards the end of the year. Plus, she's going to get buffed soon. As soon as her ult gets reworked, she's going to spike. She'll probably be the top like 3, 4, 5 junglers in the game. Alona's getting played a little bit more in the solo lane. Still not that strong. Gets counterplayed by a lot of gods. Cabrakan, very situational. Camazot's got a buff. I'm going to put Camazot's an A+. What always happens is it's a slight buff. He's definitely safer. He definitely has more lifesteal. So he's going to get played in the solo lane more. And it seems subtle on the outside. But whenever a god is slightly buffed, it ends up being fucking exponentially insane. So you're going to see Camazot's in the solo and you're going to see in the jungle. I played it once in the jungle and it felt really fucking good. That's for casuals and ranked. I don't know about comp yet. Cerberus, situational. I really wouldn't play him too much in any role. He's not all that great. You can do a lot better with a lot of gods. Because he doesn't have a lot of self-peel or peel for his teammates. He does have decent damage, but if you're being W keyed, you automatically lose because you don't have the needed self-peel. Cern, low tier, not played too much. Low tier is a lie. He's average. He can compete with most of the other hunters. I feel like he's not that safe. I feel like he's going to get bopped by a lot of the shit that's being played at the higher level. But if you're going for a full control hunter, like a Cupid style, play Cern, have fun. Do what you want to do. Chalk. I don't know why the fuck you guys love Chalk. I think Chalk might actually be one of the other top played gods. You've got like Anubis, you've got Thanatos, you've got Ratatoski, you've got Neith, and then you have fucking Chalk, which I literally don't understand. He's boring. His shit doesn't look cool. It doesn't do that much damage. He doesn't have a lot of CC. Like, I literally don't understand. I guess he pub stomps because you have healing and other people don't know what healing does at low levels. I don't know. B+, super situational. Is everything banned? Everything's banned. I'd put him in B, realistically. I just don't want you guys to cry too much. Yeah, he's easy to play. I get that. But that shouldn't make it fun. I don't know. I don't know. Not for me. Chunga, very situational, but actually, if the right, like, I say situational. I'm not going to go into the detail, but I mean, if you want anti-heal, if they don't have pressure in the mid lane and you want to play Chunga mid, if they don't have gods that are gonna be running beads, CC immune, like all that shit. I've seen games where Chunga mid is actually fucking ridiculous. It's gonna be pretty rare right now, but it does happen. Chernabog, average god, global pressure ult, always gonna work. Chiron, situational, not a bad god, but way more situational. I'd play him in mid lane only, or if you need the dispel from the one. Chronos, still pretty good and still very safe. Kukulkan, Duru, Cupid, average. If they have a lot of mobility gods and you're just playing for that like team fight setup type shit like I was talking about earlier, can work great. Make sure your matchup in the lane is in your favor, which is really the hardest part, but there are a decent amount of matchups where you can get away with Cupid. Dodgy, good, but you really only want to play it into a lot of gods that have no CC immune ults. Discordia got played more at Worlds, or was it Worlds? It was Worlds, right? Where people pull out Discordia. She's shit. I don't, like, you play for her passive for your teammates to do shit for you. Don't ever do that in casuals and ranked. That's dumb. Erlang Shen is still very strong. Support, jungle. Jungle is still creating a lot of pressure. I think he's really, really strong. You've got Kukulkan in the mid lane. Erlang Shen jungle with the pressure on top of the setup for Kukulkan's unstoppable. Fafnir, still a really good support. Just make sure you're playing it with comps that can excel, can burn objectives. You have multiple auto attack gods, that kind of shit. Fenrir, situational. If they have no gods with leaps, no way to break your 3, pick them and you'll farm. Freya is fucking insane right now. I'm not going to say SS, but I'm going to say S+. I think she's going to get banned a lot as soon as you get into like your higher tier comp games. You're not going to want the ADCs playing this shit. It's just not going to happen. There are a lot of gods that counter Freya, but it's really easy to play the game where let me pick Freya, then they pick the gods to counter Freya, and then you pick 4 other gods that fuck that god, and it's just not a fun time. So you're going to see a lot of Freya taken early in matches. Ganesh, still the normal setup average supports. Geb, probably the best peel god. Still nothing's changed on him. He hasn't been nerfed. He's not going to drop anywhere. Guan, average. I've seen him more in solo and casuals than anything lately, but I wouldn't do that. Jungle, he's still great at diving. He's still going to be fantastic into a lot of the gods that are being playing too. It's just an average god. He's not going to fucking carry. He's not always going to be the best pick. Average god. Hachiman, average safe hunter. Hades, why the fuck would you play Hades? What is wrong with you guys? There are people out there that play Hades for fun. That shit's scary. Hebo, average in the jungle, average in the mid. You're playing a one-shot Hebo, you need to position perfectly, which isn't impossible, and it's not super uncommon, especially if you snowball. Heimdallr, our first SSSSSSSS. Gets countered by very few gods, but does have a couple counters. Oh, who the fuck cares? He bops every single thing else. He's completely busted. We haven't had an SSSSSSSS god in a long time, and he's up there right now. He's fucking broken. Hell, seeing a little bit of play in comp and actually getting... I really like when Hell's on my team, as long as you don't die in the first 2 levels on Hell. I love having a Hell on my team. Yes, anti-heal is going to fully fuck a Hell, but you play around being able to disengage on the Hell, which you by yourself you can force because you've got the dispel, you've got the movement speed, you've got actives. Just play through the what's it called? What's the anti-heal active? Can't think. Brain not working. Not horrific. The other one, Ankh. Play through the Ankh, get it to reset. You're good to go. Just don't play full dive with your comp when you play Hell, and you're actually in a really good place. Hera, decent CC, average mid lane pick once everything's banned. Hercules, still very strong at invading, good support. I wouldn't really play it anywhere else. You can, if you need to throw in the solo, go for it, but I wouldn't recommend it. In terms of solo lane, I'd probably put him in A. Definitely A+ as a support though. Horus, average support. He's picked up as a pressure support to take place of like a Hercules or Erlang Shen or Naja, and I don't think he fills that role. He can be very annoying from ahead, but at any other point he's not that great. Whereas a Hercules, it starts to fall behind a little bit. It's really not a big deal because you still have the really good setup for your team. Horus has a fucking knockup and an average stun. Oyi, average ADC, decent in some of the matchups. Hun Bats is probably the best jungler outside of Thor and maybe Susanoo right now. I'm going to put him in S tier because jungle-wise, you're going to be prioritizing that if you're picking early in a ranked draft or whatever. Isis is still very, very strong. S tier, crazy pressure, crazy setup, amazing ults, objective secure. There isn't a lot to say that's bad other than the fact that she doesn't have a CC immune ults. Izanami, doo-doo. I don't know why people like Izanami. People always argue about Izanami too. That's one of those other ones. Her dash sucks dick. Her damage is, ability-wise, is super mediocre. And she doesn't provide anything that every other god doesn't do, plus a million other things. So I don't know why people like her. I can't figure it out. Fuck Izanami. Janice, a little bit below A tier, especially in this meta. You have to play around the global ult, but everyone can rotate, and your global ult takes time to travel and get through. It's nice, and it's not worthless, but it's not actually that good in my opinion, just in the slightest. I'd rather have anything that can sit there AFK farm and be really relevant in team fights versus the extra mobility on a Janice. Also, a lot of the top gods fuck Janice right now. Just look at Susanoo. Susanoo into Janice is not a fun time. He will insta-kill you every time he sees you. Jingwei is probably the safest, best hunter. She has been for a long time. Jorm, best solo laner in the game. You can't die in your ults. You have a ton of CC. They did nerf. What's the fucking item? What's the physical item? Can't think. What's the early game physical helm? Jade Emperors. They nerfed Jade Emperors a little bit. I still think he's going to be just as fucking horrible to play against. He's going to do the same shit, just different day. That's all it is. Ali, not really worth playing in the slightest. There are better late game junglers. People think Kali's late game is insane. It's really not. It is really, really not. Khepri's getting played a lot more. Aggressive Khepri's pretty sick. If you can get away with them not having executes, I'd say Khepri's a great pick as long as you understand how to be aggressive and start fights on Khepri. If you don't understand how to do that, please don't fucking play the god. King Arthur, still one of the best solo laners. Kukulkan, in my eyes, is the best mid laner that's a mage. I love Kukulkan. I think the clear is insane. I think the pressure is insane. The damage is insane. You're technically unsafe, but your 2 is probably one of the best abilities in the game in terms of just kiting and using your abilities and weaving your way through fights and juking. So as long as you understand, don't stand fucking still, you should be good to go. Boomba, another average support, lots of peel, but he's not doing anything special in the lane. Kazimbo, why the fuck would you play Kazimbo? Loki, we got Loki in the D tier. You guys are fucking drunk if you thought he was going anywhere else. He's shit. Medusa, decent pressure in the lane. I got nothing wrong with Medusa, but I got nothing that makes her excel. Mercury, another average jungler. You're playing for the late game. You can hit that early farm stride a lot earlier right now, especially starting boots. But it's still Mercury. You still have to play around your team in fights. You need them to be engaging. You need to be able to go in and poke and get in and out. And that's not common with all the team comps, but it is something you can get away with. It can be more difficult. It won't work all the time perfectly, but you can play Mercury in pretty much every comp. Merlin, still a lot of pressure. Great mage in the mid lane, just not quite as good as Kukulkan in my eyes. Naja, really good pressure support. Good pressure jungler. As long as you can hit your abilities and you're not sitting on 180 ping like everyone is lately. Awesome choice. Neath, situational mid lane, maybe ADC if you're just trying to throw ults. If you get stuck in mid or ADC and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, play Neath. Clear the lane with your 1. Save your backflip for whenever the fuck you think you're gonna die. Hug the wall away from the jungle and just run the fuck away every time you clear and throw ults into the team fights until you figure out how to rotate. Nemesis, shit tier. Doesn't bring anything right now. The ult doesn't feel good at all. You do not farm well early. You do not have CC. You don't do a lot of damage. No reason to fucking play Nem. I'll put Nem in B tier just because kind of on par with a lot of the other junglers with being pretty fucking worthless. Nike. C tier. Well, why the fuck would you play Nike? Your 2 does nothing 90% of the time. Nox, very situational, but if you're a good Nox player and the situation comes up where you can get away with it, you play it in mid, they don't have a lot of clear, and you're able to just CC the fuck out of people and burn beats consistently, it's great. Fantastic. Nuwa is a safe mid that's being played a lot lately, playing for late game for the ults. Odin, low tier, very, very, very situational. You're going to see him get buffed. I don't know what the fuck they're doing to him. I think they said something about the ult. If they change the ult or they end up changing the 3 to something good, the god will spike up probably to A. I wouldn't say much higher unless they make it do way too much damage. Olaron, average mage right now. Olaron's pretty good, but most people seem to underperform on him, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you to play him. Osiris, average soul laner. Pele, really strong jungler right now, especially in lower rank casuals. Nobody builds anti-heal. Nobody knows how to deal with the knockup because knockup is fucking broken. Pele's a great jungler. Persephone's fucking broken. We all know why. She dies and she's not actually dead. Her ult is insane and she does a shit ton of damage. Poseidon. Where did I put Kukulkan? I did put it. Yeah. All right. Poseidon is my other probably like out there pick. I think Poseidon is the best mage jungler in the game. I would rather play Poseidon than Hebo. I think your team fight impact is more drastic. I think you're able to create pressure on a mage, which is really rare, and that's pressure through clearing and invading and rotating versus pressure through damage, which Hebo does, and Hebo can be countered by anyone who can jump on top of him. Jump on top of a Poseidon, you're probably gonna die. I really like Poseidon jungle, and then mid, your ult clear is actually insane, so it's a flex pick. It's a really solid pick right now. Raw, hard as fuck to get away with, but if you're able to play through it, they're not diving you, or your team is just massive self-peel and you can keep resetting, solid pick. Raijin, I expect Raijin to be played a little bit more this season. Once you have items, strong god. Without items, you get fucked up. Especially against like Kukulkan. You're not moving in your ult very much. You can move a little bit. It's not as bad as it used to be, but you're still going to get fucked up by Kukulkan. Rama's getting played a little bit in the ADC. Just another average hunter. Ratatowski, one of the better junglers. If you're a new player, play Ratatowski. High pressure in the early game. Amazing in the mid game. Falls off late if you go full damage. Just go hybrid and you can just engage late game. Ravana is one of the more slept on junglers. Early 1, 2, sometimes level 3. Once you get into level 5, you create so much pressure and setup. Once again, another god. You pair it with the right shit. In the mid lane, your Poseidons, your pressure hunters like Ul. Your Kukulkans, your Isis, like good fucking luck dealing with that shit ever. Scylla, you need pressure in the jungle to get away with Scylla consistently, but realistically, Scylla's got nothing wrong going for her. She's fairly safe with her dash. People aren't playing a lot of Awilix. People aren't playing a lot of stuff that's going to dive at Scylla. You can get fucked by Kukulkan ult. Same shit as the other mages, but at the same time, if you bait it out or you just keep moving or you're playing off of your team properly, it's a fine mage. There's nothing wrong with it. Turket, still insane in the support. Still insane in the fucking jungle. It's a high base damage percentage dealing damage god where you can go full hybrid or you can go crit or you can go ability base. You do whatever the fuck you want on this god and it'll work as long as you're playing aggressive early and then in the mid game shift over into letting your team engage and just playing as an assassin. Set, I think, is a little underrated by a lot of people. Set seems to be performing really well. You've got a quick clearing, very safe pressure auto attack god with some base ability damage. It's just it's literally if you look at Set's kit and you think about it, it's almost exactly what you want in an assassin, where your abilities aren't one-shotting somebody, but you can one-shot somebody if you combo everything in there properly. It's not a jungle tier list. This is a regular tier list. Scotty, doo-doo tier. Mid lane, it's okay, but you're not safe. You need to play off of pressure. If the other team creates any pressure, you are fucked completely. Sobek, a little bit low tier situational support. I'd only play that if everything's banned or you're like Dingo Dial who only plays Sobek. Soul, I like Soul a lot in the Soul lane and in the mid lane. Mid lane harder to get away with. Soul, or sorry, did I say Soul lane? ADC, Hunter lane, and mid lane. ADC, Hunter, Soul is crazy safe. So it's a great pick, especially if you need magic damage. Wukong, a little bit low tier. You just kind of are safe in lane. You don't do much. You need to get into team fights as fast as possible, which most people won't know how to do. Susano is the second best jungler in my eyes right now. I got Thor, Susano, and then probably Hunbats. You guys know why. Even with the weak early game, you're still fucking insane. You have a lot of pressure. You have a lot of damage, a lot of setup. Heartseeker's insane. You guys get it. Sylvanas, average support. If you're going Guardian supports and you're playing and using the sustain on the heals and you actually are engaging fucking fights properly on Sylvanas, you're great. You're fantastic. Kind of similar to Terra, where it's not the best pick in the world. But if you're doing things right, if you're creating pressure, if you're using the sustain and you're just being as annoying as possible without ever overcommitting, great pick. Thanatos, seen a lot of play, especially with the invade bullshit. I think even outside of the invade bullshit, Thanatos is great. In ranked and casuals, he's possibly the best pub stomp god. Outside of ranked and casuals, you get into competitive, you still get away with it. There's a lot of Kepri being played. The execute is super strong. People are able to do a lot of damage to these gods and force the execute threshold, and then you should just engage off of that. It's dope. Morgan this season is going to be played a fuck ton. She still creates a lot of pressure. Plus, there's a lot of OP-ass gods. So if you let something through, like a Heimdallr or Yamoja or just something, a Freya, and you want to play around that, you use the Yamoja. Thor is the best jungler and one of the best solo laners in the game. Probably put Thor at S+, because you don't want to deal with it in either lane. You guys know that. Thoth underperforming, honestly. I'll put him in A, but he's just been underperforming. I thought Thoth was going to be insane in the last few months, and he's just not doing shit. Not doing anything at all. It's crazy. Tyr, solid solo laner, one of the most annoying gods in Smite. Ul, amazing mid laner, one of the best pressure gods you can play in the mid lane. Vamana, very situational. Late game, you are fucking worthless. Vulcan, not the safest mid laner, but can create a lot of pressure. And once again, if you play around your team, if you're a grouped up team comp and you're playing through CC and you're poking a lot, okay pick. Xbalanque, ult still very useful. Not as good as before, still useful. Xingtian, one of the better gods in the game in terms of playing support, not fucking feeding, and having a big relevance in the team fights. You've got the knock-up, you've got the reduced damage, you have a ridiculous ult. It's just one of, it's like the fucking tier of support is how I look at Xingtian. And I can only imagine most people think of it the same way, because he's annoying as fuck when he's running at you and you do no damage. Yamoja is literally broken right now. She's bugged. When you die, you lose Omi. Once, even without that, like even with that, she's still fucking broken in terms of how good she is. Once that's gone, she's unstoppable. She has like a 4-second lockdown. If you ult and spam your one incorrectly, you get like 4 seconds of lockdown and damage. I've been going full damage in the jungle. I will put a build on her up tonight, so you guys quit crying and yelling at me. She is broken. She's going to be played in a lot of roles. Probably support more than anything, just because if you're playing it right in support, it fucking sucks to play against. Outside of that, you might see her in solo in your casuals ranked. You'll see her in mid. You'll see her in jungle. ADC is a little questionable. Not terrible, just questionable. Ymir, I don't know why the fuck you would play Ymir. I don't even know where he just went. Where the fuck did... Oh, we didn't put him anywhere. Ymir has 1 CC. Magi's counters him. His damage falls off after like 8 minutes. Why the fuck would you play him anywhere? Zeus, way too fucking risky to be played. Zhongqi, I'll say situational right now. I'm interested to see how much Zhongqi gets played in comp this year, if at all. Just because it's Zhongqi, where your team fight is really annoying, but outside of that, you're just a tanky piece of shit. I forgot stun lock. What do you mean? I just said lockdown on you, Moja. You trolling? So that's my tier list right now. That's where I'm at. There's some things you could tweak and argue, and I would probably agree. But for the most part, this is my tier list. This is where we're at. Wait, where the fuck did Zhong go? Oh, put him in B+. I'm gonna put him in A. Because I don't know. I really don't know what Zhong's gonna be doing. Bro, Ymir is not fun. Just like any other god, if you snowball on Ymir, it's fun. But if you snowball on any god, it's fun. Why isn't Morgan higher? Morgan's an A+. Morgan can be countered. Morgan's ult is on a crazy long cooldown. And Heimdallr is going to full counter Morgan completely. So in your casuals and ranked, you are never going to get away with playing Morgan. It's not going to be fun. I put Boggies in B+ because if you're playing a full dive comp and you want pressure, aggression, and damage out of your support, it's a viable pick. Freya mid? I'd want Freya ADC. Or would I put Trump on the tier list? Right up there with your mom. Isis explanation. High pressure. Tons of control. They buffed the 3. And the range of the 3 is insane. That silence late game is fucking ridiculous. And you have an ultimate that secures every objective in the game. It's almost impossible to fight into unless you're able to reset or completely counter it through anti-heal, and I don't know, you're just not going to take damage in it somehow. So it's a really hard pick to play against. I think the problem with Isis is you saw her underperform a little bit like SPL because everyone was banning it, and then they let it through, so no one had played it forever. Shing 10 is broken. Not broken. Shing 10's going to get through games. That's the thing. S tier for me is the gods that are going to get through picks and bans a lot, and you want a top pick. Susano, you might not need a top pick, but in reality, I don't know why else you would need to prioritize anything else if you're good at Susano. Unless your team has no pressure at all, then you might look at going something else. You might look at Serket. You might look at Thor's probably going to be banned. You look at Humbats. You look at Erlang Shen, Naja, Pele, that kind of shit. You disagree with Cabrakan A+ IMO? No, Cabrakan does not fit into every team comp. I don't even know where you would play Cabrakan right now, because I would not put Cabrakan in the jungle, especially with invades. I would not put Cabrakan in solo lane, and I don't like Cabrakan support. I think it's shit. You literally you're like a Ymir. There's nothing that is consistent about Cabrakan. Achilles, you could argue and put him in S. I wouldn't disagree. Why is Wukong B+? Because he's never gonna win lane against people who are playing correctly, and you're just a safe god. Like, you pick Wukong to not get fucking destroyed in lane, not to win lane. Move to F tier. Yeah, let's go fucking below F tier. Let's go Z tier. Camazot's after buff. I've only played him. I played him once on PTS and I played him once on live. He feels really good, but that doesn't mean shit because people might just not be used to the leap and everything. Once everyone's used to the new Camazots, I have him in A+ right now. I think he's gonna be played a lot, but he might fall off like he usually does. Why is Shing 10 S? You have like 50% damage reduction. You have a decent amount of CC. You have a decent amount of damage, and you're really fucking annoying. Serket too low, Bobby. We all know you're a Serket main. It's okay. When I play Emoja jungle, I go full damage. Like, I don't see why you should go anything else other than full damage in the jungle. Hybrid would work, but I just not valuable in support. I haven't seen. I know like Aurora and people have been spamming her in support, so I'm gonna go look and try to get a support build up. Why is Cuckoo low? Because he sucks. Cuckoo doesn't do anything. Cuckoo literally just dies in team fights. Kumba A plus. If you're gonna move Kumba up to A plus, then you gotta move Kepri up to A plus. You'd probably have to move Oleron up to A plus. Who else? Thanatos I would move up to A plus if I was gonna do that. Chalk is too high. Didn't I put Chalk down here? Wait, where the fuck is Chalk? Yeah, Chalk's in B plus or B tier. Heimdallr is so broken right now, you can play him in any role. But he's literally broken. His damage is way too high. His autos hit too hard. And his abilities do too much damage. Scordia sucks. Why is Zeus so low? Low mobility, your damage isn't all that special. They made it so Aegusing the 3 is super fucking easy. He's not the worst god in the world, but he's probably one of the least safe and consistent mid laners you could play. Baron too high? Nah, dude. Baron, if you're playing against a team comp, or you have a team comp, or you can get away with the mage and the soul lane, Baron solo can be very annoying. It's not great. I'm not sitting here saying it's amazing pick, but it can be the right pick at the right situations. Why is Bastet A tier? Bastet's really good right now. Actually, I don't think she's pick her right away material, but she's really good right now, and they're apparently messing with her ult. So once her ult gets changed, which is going to be the first few months of next year, February or something of next year, she's going to be broken. She is going to be one of the best junglers in the game. Unless they nerf other abilities when they change the ult. Then we're talking about some other shit. Is Ow not ranked pub stomp anymore? I think Ow is shit. I very rarely lose to Ow. I don't know.